Can you hear me, brother? So here we go. So looks like you know what I'll do? Uh wrench. And I'm not exactly sure how this goes. I've only been on here by myself, but appreciate you for jumping on. I have absolutely no idea what this looks like to the masses. So, like I said, we fly in this plane. We fly in this plane from the. We building this plane on the runway. Um. Okay. Good. Sound is good. That's good. I'm trying to figure out if I can get some. Like I said, this probably the. This is not the ideal. This is not the ideal way to do this. I don't think. But but oh man, but we're gonna do it anyways. But I guess what I'll say is this: let's. I guess we can talk about the word and about anti-Semitism. Uh, I do think it's interesting that that so many people are able to jump into into this fight the way that they are. Um, I'm not able to. I'm not able to. I'm not able to explain exactly why these men think that they can jump all over Kyrie the way that they do or the way that they have. Um, let's see here. Let's do this. Let's do this and hang out with me just a second. Yeah, man. I'm not even, to be honest with you, I'm not even ready for none of this, to be honest with you. but we're gonna try to we're just gonna go on ahead. Like I said, we're just gonna go ahead and fly this plane. Um we're gonna fly this plane. We got some people. There you go. We got Douglas in the back. Give me 2 seconds, gentlemen. Let me just go on ahead and bring this up so I can at least see it. There we go. All right, there we go. All right. Woo. Man, y'all are quick. Y'all are quick, boy. Let's go. All right, brother Douglas. I'm gonna bring you guys up in just a second. Douglas, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly, brother.
There you go. Woof. I'm not up here talking to myself. Jesus Christ. Hey man. So I've gotten a chance to peek over to your page a couple times, but like, man, this is trying to actually do a broadcast on a regular basis is quite the feat. Let's just say that.
Yeah,
I
I
was
know
giving
it is, bro.
props. But look, I'm gonna go ahead and let these brothers in real quick. You can go on ahead and kind of chime in how you what you had in mind. And look, and like I said, I understand what Dennis was saying, and he likes to keep everything really kind of tight, right? And kind of stay on subject and stay on topic. And I understand where I understand what he was trying to do in that respect. So I think in the same respect, let's try to kind of hammer down exactly the kind of leverages that are being put on these athletes, right? So obviously, like, again, I'm not going to question Kyrie exactly what tribe and this, that, and the other thing. To be honest, like, I'm a little bit more practical in my own thinking. It's more about I'm looking more at the leverages that are being applied to the people that are being around him. Go ahead.
Like I say, is he just helping in the awakening? So anybody who is speaking up and saying that they feel like they're a part of, they're God's people, they're Hebrew. I salute you and I'm standing with you. And if you think about it, Farrakhan, he respected Hebrews. He hadn't struck down on Hebrews, nothing like that. Because I respect Islam and Islam respect us. That's the kind of brotherhood that we have. Now we ain't gonna, mix apples and oranges on Bible verses or argue over Bible verses because right now we just trying to unify our people within God and whatever flavor you want to serve God. At this point, that's on you, and it's up to you to do your due diligence. So when we was on the other side over there, Spurling, I can understand what he was saying,
Yeah,
but to me, when the man went from saying he was Islam and then he was Hebrew, he really just learning both faith and starting to see that a lot of the information kind of run parallel with each other. It's kind of interlinked. It kind of
yeah,
get off when the Prophet Muhammad came into effect.
yeah,
That's when they kind of split. But it's still a branch out the same tree, so it ain't worth arguing over. A lot of our people are just ready to become wicked and demon like. You hear the youngest say that, I'm on demon time.
yeah.
Our generation, it was 80 babies and 70 babies. We went in food with the devil, period. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Hey,
So
real quick. Hey, real Core and Lucky. I apologize. Hold on, real quick. There. Hey, we're kind of we're gonna stay all cameras over here. Saint, also I see you in the back there. We chit chat with cameras on. There you go. All right, there we go. I'll add you to the stream. So Corin, do me a favor, brother. Let's we do all cameras over here. So if you could do me a huge favor and go ahead and throw that camera on. Go on ahead, finish up Douglas, and then we'll jump on down to Minadine.
that's how I said. Like I said, that was you see on the screen right. Like the Do Tonight book is a comic book series that just kind of teach kids about the God and their Hebrew faith. Because I know that like most uh, single parent black women are not teaching children about the Most High. And they teaching their children that basically it's just a higher being, whatever. You know what I'm saying? These kids ain't got no religion like that no more.
Yeah,
So this same comic book character you see right here. Actually, I don't really bring it up on the other channel, but actually, I'm a video game developer. I left the music business,
yeah,
some of the biggest artists in the world, done shows with some of the biggest artists in the world. I
yeah.
also seen the wickedness in there, which made me walk away. So now I'm putting together a video game team. I'm actually in school, getting my bachelor's degree in video game development, but I already got a team, and that's gonna be a video game in a couple of years.
That's what's up.
So
That's what's up.
that's what I'm trying to do to further the movement. So if Kyrie Irving, if Kanye, whoever
Yeah,
speaking up for their religion and they ain't gonna bad down. I understand you can't just go Rambo with these folks because they got a place for you. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
But
Absolutely.
it's telling the truth and standing on the truth. Ain't nothing wrong with that, bro. I'm gonna land my plane right up.
I feel you. Go ahead, Minadine. How you doing, brother? Welcome to the broadcast.
Hey,
Look,
what's
hey, look.
going
This is gonna be a little choppy. This is usually I've only done this by myself, just talking to myself. So at this point, it's gonna be the first time doing this on this side. So go on ahead, Minadine. What would you like to add? Go on ahead, brother.
on? Well, if I take a step back from this particular situation and look at the macro, it's very simple. What's happening now in the world is you've got the devil, and he's rearing his head very, very strong into the world. Every single aspect of modern society, you can see manifestations of his agenda. And so when you have a young man, regardless of what faith he's stepping up for, if he's stepping up in the context of faith, and he's got a lot of young men and young people following him, um, the fact that he speaks up and stands up for faith, for God, is a problem. It's a problem for the system.
Yeah,
Okay, because you don't hear any of the Shaquille O'Neals of the world speaking up on behalf of God and professing his faith and leading people in that direction. So when this young man says, follow me on my journey, and I'm standing for God, whatever the iteration of the faith that you have, it's a problem. And so that's why there's a need to immediately shut him down
yeah.
without hesitation.
Here's a question, and I want to and I'm gonna hit everybody on the panel with this particular question. Uh, what I why wouldn't these brothers just say no comment, Minadine?
Because they need approval.
Yeah.
They need approval. Like, my father's from the Caribbean. And so I was raised in a Caribbean household. I was not raised as an African American. And my dad did that for a reason. He did not want me to be inculcated with this mentality that, for example, back home in Trinidad, when you look to the echelons of power, it's us that hold the power. We are the police, we are the government, we are the doctors, we are the lawyers, we are the nurses. And so if you come from that environment, you come from a mind of entitlement. You are entitled to these things. You are entitled to run your own nation. You are entitled to be the head of everything that is. But when you're in a dominant society, which this is, where you look to the echelons of power and you are subservient to power, you are also inculcated with a certain mentality. And so if you look to the Shaquille O'Neals of the world, they're just grateful to have been given the opportunity that they've been given because they were given the opportunity. It wasn't owed to them. And the reality is that I understand that it's owed to me. I own the means of production. I am the means of production. But if you're a slave mind, then you just have to be grateful.
Yeah.
And you need that affirmation from the master.
Yeah, I feel that. Brother Hanif Khalil, and so forgive me if I didn't get that right. Is that Hanif Camille, right? Khalil.
Yes, Hanif Khalil. Thank you.
All right, brother. Go on. What would you like to add to the broadcast?
Well, their response was pretty much a knee-jerk reaction to the narrative that they had bought into. They're used to when in front of a camera or in front of a microphone, there's an expectation that they're going to have a comment. So if they're not coming from a place of the new narrative, then they're going to rely on what they are used to. It's almost like it was habit. So I'm not really blaming them per se because I understand where they are. But now that the narrative has changed, they had to understand where they should be placed. Now, if they continue in that vein, then it's a manifestation of where they really are.
Now, I have thank you. I appreciate that. What's up? Let's jump over to JJ Diesel Cowboy. What we got? Are we traveler? Right. That's what I'm talking about. JJ, chime in, brother. What would you like to add to the broadcast? Welcome.
Yes, sir. How y'all fellas doing? Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Prophecy is being fulfilled and the earth is throwing fits, and God is about ready to plead for his people, and these people acting this way because they have fear and they know their time is short.
Got you. I feel that. And because I'm gonna, after we get around, I have a theory or a little bit more of a practical reason as to why this is happening the way that it is. So tell me something, brother. Do you think that there will be a time? Do you think that this system is just shot completely the way that it is? And do you think that we will ever, as a people, be able to demand the type of respect that we've earned in this particular space?
Yes, but God's got to do some things first, and I mentioned on Dennis Spurling's channel in the chat some scriptures, and that's part of the prophecy. Joel chapter 3, and then there's 2 chapters in Isaiah 65 and 66. But John 3:16 is important, and then we gotta, as a whole, come to God. He'll heal our land, meaning us as a people.
For those of you who don't know, brother JJ Diesel is the resident. He got the Bible on point. He got the verse on point. I always appreciated that about you. Appreciate you. Let's go to Saint real quick. What would you like to add to the broadcast?
I just say, as far as like Shaq and Barkley, Jalen Rose, all their comments, these guys know exactly what they're saying. They have script writers, producers, handlers. They may not have been told verbatim what to say, but they were definitely given a direction to go. Everybody on the set knew what direction they were going to go. It's controlled opposition to people like Kyrie, Nick Cannon, who speak about being Hebrews or anything that is empowering us and our youth, and that's going to be shut down until we're able to raise ourselves up. And so I think it's just it was that's the treatment we've been getting and are going to continue to get in the near future at least. But things and forums like this I think are good and empowering us. And the fact that Kyrie felt empowered to speak out, I think is showing that we are making progress for people like Kyrie.
Salute to you for that. Brother Slim Shady, go ahead, chime in. Thank you for that, Saint.
Appreciate it. Thank you for that, Saint. I was going to say the exact same thing. I think all of this stuff is happening right on time when it's supposed to happen, right? We've had people with much less stature say the same things, but they don't get nearly enough traction. So sometimes you may need someone who's got a bit more stature, whose voice can reach a little bit further, and that can help us to kind of have these conversations. And I just think the way that we've been able to respond to this, at least on this broadcast and in the public, has shown folks, hey, look, you're not going to push our brother around. You're not going to break our brother out here. The man apologized. You know, you can keep telling us this thing is anti-Semitic, but you haven't pointed to a single thing in there that would say this is exactly what it is that we don't like. You keep quoting something about Hitler in there that's not in the film. I don't know where this stuff comes from. Ron Dalton is on the internet. He's on YouTube. You can talk to this guy. He has debates with rabbis and all these other people. But aside from that, when I think about Kanye and the things he's talking about, and a lot of people be upset with him about it, but he's saying nothing different than what Michael Jackson was saying about the industry, what the artist formerly known as Prince has been saying about the industry, what Mariah Carey went through, what Michael Jackson went through. So many people have gone through this. We're going to sit here and pretend like this is not a reality in the system. Dave Chappelle just did a whole monologue on Saturday Night Live where he said, well, you know, it's a lot of those people there. It's not quite a coincidence. I mean, even if Kanye played along with this system, they signed the man to a lifetime contract in perpetuity, which means he could never get out of this contract. What type of contract is that?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Well, question, and I'm gonna come to everybody with this question also, you know, and so I want you guys to think about this. So are we getting into these contracts? Are we obviously, you know, they'd kill us when we learned how to read, right? Back in the day. So they tried to keep as much education from us as they possibly could. Would you say that part of the problem is that we're entering into these contracts with not enough information or not enough knowledge of what we're signing? Now we're going to come back to that. Go on ahead, Joe. Let's jump in there. And thank you, Slim Shady. Go ahead, Joe. What would you like to add? And I'm gonna come back to all of you guys with that one particular question.
Can everybody hear me?
Can hear you.
I want to say hello to the whole panel. Thank you, Alvin. appreciate it. I want to real fast, I'm gonna pass the mic because I know it's time sensitive. I want to go back to the inception of what we were talking about, is why do these celebrities feel the need to speak out instead of being quiet? Well, I would say this: because Black people are not organized, because we don't do business amongst ourselves, even though we have a large amount of money that's circulating through our community, we spend it with other races. When somebody empowers you, you find yourself being loyal to the people that's empowering you. It's almost like, hey, don't bite the hand that feeds you. So I guess the question would say, okay, fine. These people have put me in a position of status and not only income. Why would I go against that for a people that, if I lose it all, cannot place me back where I should be? I think that the question should be, until we can galvanize ourselves to a place where we can empower people or fund people or put people in places of power, then we can't expect for them to stand up for us to speak out. It's only natural that we fall in line with the people that empower us. So with that being said, real quick, and I'm getting off, Alvin, that until we can become organized, until we can put people in power and in place, then that's what's being said. We cannot ask for loyalty if we're not putting people in power. That's why they are speaking up, because they owe these people their loyalty. If you ask them why they speak up against Kyrie Irving, because guess what? They understand the people that are providing for them and their families. You, us, we are not doing that. So why should they owe us any loyalty? That's why it's important, a moral imperative, that we come together, put our money together, be cohesive, reach a consensus that we can empower our people. I'm sorry for taking too much time. Thank you.
No, you're okay. So one thing that I think that, you know, again, in addition to the levers of money is, you know, sometimes people forget they threw Muhammad Ali in jail when he was a heavyweight champion of the world. The actual literal heavyweight champion of the world. and they was like, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and just draft you to shut you up. And when he said, you know what, I'm not going, they threw him in jail. Bill Cosby was 82 years old when they threw him in jail this last time. Right. So, you know, just like what the mob does, right? They offer you money, or they try to put you in they leverage you, right? They try to put you in a situation where you owe them something. And then when they do that, if that doesn't work, then they, you know, they put the screws to you. If that doesn't work, then, you know, they lock you up. So, you know, I think we're also realizing that, you know, it is the way that college sports works, right? The way that show business works, the way that, you know, you don't get to sit at that desk where Shaq is and Charles Barkley sits, and you don't get to sit in those places if you don't have a little bit of dirt on you. And I would assume that not only are they getting that check cut, but I would imagine that they got some skeletons hiding in those closets that at moment's notice, you know, someone gives a call to Madeleine Albright, or whatever her name is. Isn't that her name? Madeleine Albright, Madeleine Allred, right? Give her a call, and suddenly all the ladies come out saying that you touched them.
Right.
But that's one of my ethics. Go ahead, Minadine. I know, and Douglas, we're gonna come right back to you, but go ahead, Minadine.
Yeah, I wanted to speak to what Brother Joe said, and that I'll have to disagree, because our ultimate power lies in our integrity. It's not about putting people in positions of power, because if you look back, look back to our prophets. Did Jesus, peace be upon him, did he have money and power? What he had was the truth, and he had integrity. Did any of our prophets have money and power that wasn't bestowed to them by God directly? And if you don't have this money and power, which is really it's symbolic of the wealth of the world, we don't need to have as a community money or power. We need to have integrity. Each of us has to have simply an unwavering ability to stand for what is right and speak the truth. And if we have that, we cannot be stopped. It doesn't make a difference how much money they have or how much quote unquote power they have, because I think that's part of the trick, is that they try to inculcate us with the idea that you have to have money to have power in society, and you don't. I'm a powerful human being because I have integrity, and no one can take that away from me. There's no skeletons in my closet because I've always had integrity. And you can't stop somebody who has integrity except with a bullet. And even if you do that, the ideas will survive.
So, and that's an interesting point. I'm gonna come back to that. Go ahead, Douglas. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with Melody as far as the money go, because if you got a bunch of money, if you take the white man face off of them and you put your face on there, how much that money worth then? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you worship this paper. Basically, he got a big printer somewhere, print it up, and you worship it. So it's not about the money. It's the money that's representing labor and resources that come from the human being and land. So you can't really have one without the other. You got to have labor and resources and land.
So Joe, before you jump off a ridge, I know you want to, because I can see you hopping around over there. I think there's some nuance to what you just said, right? So Menadine, and the only reason I'm going to add this is because I think what you said isn't incorrect, but it does sound crazy a little bit.
Yeah, I know it sounds
right?
crazy.
Right, it does sound a little bit crazy, but I'm gonna put my own little spin on this. When I was in car sales, I was a finance director of a car dealership, and the monthly grind used to wear me out. The first of the month, those numbers start all over again, and it was what have you done for me lately, right? It just any kind of sales job, and it would stress me out. So what I ended up doing, which ended up helping me out, was I said, you know what, I just need to stay busy. If I can just stay busy, if I can just continue to do my work and keep my hands busy, then I'll be successful. And what ended up happening is when I focused on the work and focused on that part, the money came on the backside, and I didn't have to worry about it quite so much. I changed my focus. I made sure I was doing good business, and suddenly that money came on the backside. So I'm not disagreeing with what you said, but it just
Can I ask you a question, brother? Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
When you get the money, what do you buy with the money? Main things you got to buy.
You know what? That's an interesting point. That's an interesting question.
If you got to buy, I got a background in construction too. Actually, my father been in construction been 30 years. I know I put in foundation. I actually taught myself how to read, blueprints and foundational blueprints, started putting in foundation. I was like 21, and had a crew of dudes that worked for me that were felons and couldn't get no job nowhere else. So what I'm gonna say is this: if you producing your own concrete and you chopping down your own lumber and you building your own homes, then what need do you have for them to go buy your resources for them? If you producing your own water, if you producing this, then how valuable is that money to you? You have your own resources, build your own shelter, and your own land to form your own food. Then that money becomes obsolete and not valuable.
Okay,
So
real quick.
that's what we don't control.
Who is that?
We want to have them power. We must control resources.
Hold on, real quick. Somebody needs to mute up real fast. Maybe is that you, Corwin? Hold on, brother. No, it's not you.
It's Frank. He don't want to.
Somebody's giving me all sorts of feedback.
I ain't like that statement, bro.
I got it. There we go. Okay, so real quick. AA Newton, your devices aren't connected. That's why you're still sitting back there, brother. So if you could figure out how to that's the reason why you're still sitting back there. Your devices aren't connected, and we're doing cameras on here. We're doing faces only. All right, Joe. Go ahead, brother. What's up? Go ahead. Take yourself off you. Hey, and look, we're gonna make it quick. Let's make it quick, but go ahead.
Okay, yes, sir. I appreciate
before you start, because I think this is important. Okay, because this is a part that's very contested, and I think it's a nuanced conversation about where the money and ethics cross. And I think oftentimes this is where the conversation goes sideways. So let's be precise with our words, and let's really kind of, because you can't get anything done without money, right? But here's the thing: if you're selling out, right, you can't sell your soul. So go on ahead, Joe.
Okay, and I'm going to be real precise, and I appreciate that. So, men of Dean, what I want to say is this: exactly what Alvin just said. I don't want to give anybody the impression that money is all, because when we die, we can't take none of that with us. And second of all, you have rich people that commit suicide. So money is not all in all. But let's be clear here. We cannot do anything without that money. Meaning, if we want to take our race and take it to the next level, we have to be productive. Closing out when I say this, that the reason why the Jews are able to have so much power and do this to our people, because they have been productive. They have, business wise, socially wise, they have been productive. We're not going to sit here and play the game thinking that if we be positive and just have happy thoughts, that great things are going to happen. We have been praying on our knees for 450 years in the transatlantic slave trade. That's not even including the trans-Saharan slave trade under Arab imperialism. So respect, I get what you're saying, but there's another side to it. We still need to be productive to empower our people, to put our people in places of power so we can begin to shut people down when they start saying anti-African statements. Thank you. I hope I wasn't too disrespectful. I love everybody on the panel.
Hey, no, you're good. Hey, brother Corwin Lucky, go on ahead, brother. What would you like to add to the conversation?
He's right. We have a long way to go, man. When a certain amount of people is going to get money to put us in place, to help the ones that need help, and then we just have to learn to grow, man. In numbers. It's not that many of us, but the ones that's in place can't mess up. They can't do nothing to offend the hand that's feeding you. It's wrong the way they hitting them, but I know the feeling because I lost a good job. You know what I'm saying? Going to work thinking I was, they can't say nothing to me, but I wasn't realizing they had the power that I needed. And I lost out, and I pray for the brothers that lost jobs. And for a brother like this, it's devastating. It's just devastating because, they say it's a saying, the bigger you are, the harder you fall. And, you can't put yourself in that predicament, man, if you getting millions like that. right now, I just feel Kyrie's a scapegoat because he ain't do nothing. He didn't really do nothing nobody else don't do. You know.
Yeah.
I share shit. People share stuff online, you know, with others.
Yeah.
You know, I'm surprised that they was watching him like that. That's like, you know, looking through a microscope, through an eye of a needle, like at this person, like he did something wrong. You know what I'm saying? He was under the microscope. You know, like what did he do? You know what I'm saying? He didn't take the shot. They didn't take the shot neither. You know, a lot of things they don't do that they put us, you know, they make us do so they can make money. It's a whole lot of stuff they have us doing to make them money because he didn't take the shot. He didn't comply. They don't take the shot. Yeah. They're not patriotic towards our holidays. They don't want to be around us like Sterling was saying. They don't want to have nothing to do with us, but we got to comply with everything, every rule, everything they come out with. We got to be in compliance, and they're not in compliance with it. They don't have to do anything. It seems like they get away with everything, and we under the microscope so bad we can't do nothing. Yeah, like if we do anything, like anything, man,
anything.
If I talk on this microphone and it ain't mine, it's theirs, I get fired for that.
Yeah. I mean, even YouTube for the. I mean, there are words that the
they can come
and cut us right off. So understood. So let's talk about this because I like to be a little bit more practical, right? So we're in this situation where we're in a trick bag, right? Where we produce one of the things that I try to bring on. See, I get the mic. I love that. Okay. So one of the things I like to talk about though, is that a lot of times folks don't understand slavery and how it really worked. It wasn't just the cotton and the tobacco, you know, that they were pulling out of the ground. It was the fact that there was whole economies that it was running, right? It was the hardware store down the street. It was the bar down the street. It was the restaurants down the street. That money that poured into the economy didn't just run the plantations, but it was all the other businesses that supported the plantation. Now, if we were to take that in today's world and look at it right now, what are we producing? Well, we're producing entertainment is what we're producing. So entertainment is the cotton. Entertainment is the tobacco. So that being said, and it sounds like the folks that shall remain unnamed produce, from what it seems like, distribution, and Douglas can speak to that specifically. What does it look like, and is it realistic for us to think that we can start to separate ourselves from those from the powers that be? Go ahead, Douglas.
I think
what is that like? Is that something that can be done? What does it look like? And kind of, if you had to give it a time frame, what does something like that look like?
I'd say China was a third world country, and now is one of a superpower, and they did it in 50 years, and they did it through manufacturing. So what we need, the next generation, just like me, I did like the construction thing. I can attest that probably around 2000, when a lot of the Mexicans started coming in, I stopped getting many contractors I was getting. So I slowly got put out of business where I couldn't keep my crew fed, and I went into other businesses, and I ended up in the music business. And now I'm into video game development. I think that we need whatever is what they did was they pushed us out of the construction business because, you know, in 2000, I'm from Mississippi, everybody knew how to build. So if anything you see built around us, we will build it. So if you want to, the first thing you have to do is we got to get back into building and manufacturing. So we could talk that now, but unless we got to have a generation of our sons going into architect, going into manufacturing, and going into computer development, building computers, not just the software side of learning code, actually learn how to build computers. And we got to start out just like the Chinese did. We got to find a specific industry and focus on that, and send our young black men into those industries. And we all on this stage of elder age, and we know what industries really hold the most power. Yeah. And will be the most powerful in the future. So those are the industries we should send our youth into. That's why I'm going into video game development, because I want to build a vessel for the next generation of kids. I'm gonna tell you, I'm in class with young black men. It's like it ain't many of us.
Yeah.
But about 3-4 young black men in my video game development class, and I'm already putting them and say, yeah, I'm about to do this, and I got this kind of IP. I'm trying to pull out this and all that. So I was saying we got to send our sons into that. So while they getting educated in these different in the industries that we need help in,
yeah,
we need to stop trying to be famous and try to be rappers. Look, I'm gonna tell you, all your favorite rappers pretty much suck dick. That's why I walked away from them.
all right, JJ, I love that.
Which whatever you want to see, oh, this nigga been, yeah, I've been in the music industry. All I seen was say, and I really told, I ain't gonna tell what community, but I'm just gonna say the same community that man that Kyle Irving. I told him these nuts still available Monday through Sunday, goddamn it.
You
they
crazy,
got mad at me, bro. You know what I'm saying? I
feel you.
Kiss my ass walk away.
JJ, go Diesel Cowboy, go ahead, brother. So you know, again, we need to, you know, we talk a lot about you know, obviously, and again, I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel, right? I think that's, we know there's a system that is in place that we do have we helped build, by the way, you know, that we've been the driving force behind. How long and in what ways do you think that we can, and let's be practical, right? Like let's be practical about how we can kind of create or at least leverage, you know, ourselves. Go on ahead. What would you like to add, JJ Diesel Cowboy? And we'll go to Slim Shady next, Joe Martin, and we're going to jump over to Saint. Go ahead, JJ. You're mute. There you go.
Hey, I'm back. I would say farming, transportation, and medical industry, the legal industry, and construction.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Because they did take, and they've taken a lot of things out of schools that traditionally taught young black men how to use tools and build things. You know, obviously, you know, once again, and the funny thing about that is that, you know, you go down to the South, what just happened down in the South, right? Those hurricanes tore everything up. Like if I was in construction and I had a construction business, that would be the first place I went. There is more than enough business down there, but
Man,
are we included in any of that?
Out of Katrina to help
right?
build that. We
right?
moved to New Orleans. Back in 08, 09,
right?
we moved down there to help put that back. You know
right?
what I'm saying? But
So
a nigga can't build a bathhouse nowadays. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't that
The
something?
next generation. That's what I'm saying. But I ain't mean to cut you off, bro.
No, you good.
You got to get back into whatever build of society. That's what we need to be getting educated in.
Yep. Slim Shady, go ahead, brother. What would you like to add? What do you think? You know, well, let's, again, like I said, I like to be a little bit more practical about, you know, what's going on. I think we talk a lot about what, you know, what we can do or what we should be doing. But, you know, let's start to look at what does that really look like? Like if, you know, I know that Kyrie and Kanye and some of these gentlemen are getting in a position where they're getting ready to meet and do some things. But, you know, how do you propose, what would be one of the first things you would do to kind of get us off the plantation?
Well, so I feel like we're already moving in that direction, right? If we look at the stats and we say 60% of black men are moving more towards the middle class. When you talk about educated brothers, whether they're blue class or, you know, blue collar or white collar guys, they've got enough information about where the economy is growing in terms of like coding, etc. Because to build any society, you have to start with agriculture first. That's the crux of any society. Then you move to the manufacturing sector, right? Then once you get there, you can move on to like the service industry. That's where you get like all the goods and services that go into like the stores and the road work and all that other stuff. So I think we're moving in the right direction already. What we need to do, and this is just it's actually not even from me, is I'm always going to use like a biblical perspective. The reason that this specific community that we can't even name, this is how crazy it is able to be able to move the way that they move is because they're following a set of traditions that allow them to say us first. If you're really getting to this book, this is a very specific book about a very specific people, about a very specific way that they treat themselves and how they treat others, which is why they can get over on a bunch of other folks, but they hold each other down. That's what we should be doing. So when we're talking about us moving on code, that's exactly what it is. Because if you go in that book, they say you can't eat roadkill, but you can serve it to them. Give it up. That's what it's saying. You can do that. You can charge interest to other people, but you can't charge it to your own people. So we got to really get here and see what this book is really talking about. It's teaching you how to be a nation that people say that's a wise and gainsaying people. We need to follow their ways. But
so you're talking about
our ways, but we've abandoned it. That's why we're in the position we're in. That's why we don't support each other. And
so
we never get on top until we start moving in that fashion.
So where you're talking about code. We're not on code.
For sure.
Right?
And they following the code that we were meant to follow.
Yeah. I'm gonna come back to that in just a second. Go on ahead. We're gonna jump over to Saint and then we're gonna come back to Joe. Hold on. Saint, go ahead, brother. What's up?
Okay.
And I'm gonna change the subject in a little bit because I want to touch everybody on this one. But essentially, what I'm just saying is that what does it look like? What would be the most logical place for us to go, in your opinion? And again, we're just spitballing, right? I want to talk about some practical things that we can do to really start to what's it really look like for us to not necessarily separate, but start to impose ourselves in a way where it helps us. Go on ahead.
I just want to echo what these guys said and add in real estate and double down on agriculture. Once we can start feeding our people, then money is less relevant. And then we have to start teaching our children to avoid being entertainers and athletes because the salaries are so high, then it's so easy for them to control us.
I love that answer. Go on ahead, Joe. And I'm going to come back to that too. Go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say this to answer your question. Two things I want to say. How can we expedite this process? Is that what you're asking, sir?
Well, I'm asking this, again, we talk about, we always talk about this on such a surface level, right? And we never really get into the practicality of it, right? A lot of it is theoretical all of the time. And we've heard a lot of these conversations a million times, right? We've had these conversations before, whether ourselves or we've listened to them. And I know that there's a lot of people that are moving in a lot of different directions. I think a lot of Black folks are moving in silence, right? Because we have to, because the reality is that, again, just like what we're realizing with these superstars is that, that can get taken away. So we need to move in silence, right? We can't project all this strength right away because we don't have enough of it yet. So what I'm kind of getting at is that, what are some of the more practical things that we can do lower level, kind of moving on up, that can help us kind of separate? Now, obviously, focusing on agriculture is a big one. Focusing on, politics is a big one. But what do you feel like in your again, not feel like, in your best estimation, what do you think is a great place to start, a jumping off point as
small business?
You know what? I'm gonna tell you. I've had this conversation with you before. I think you should answer that because you gave a great answer last time we spoke. And I told you when we spoke, I don't have that answer. In my personal perspective, in my position, like I said, I think that when we talk to our people, the first thing they say is we should get some land and grow some food. But then we don't really think about all the other things like infrastructures, armies, or how we can pay people and do things of such as that nature. But what I would say with my limited information, and you great, and honestly, I think you should be the one on here to answer that question, because if you can tell the panel what you told me that night, I think everybody would be in awe. But what I will say, and I'm cutting off real quick so I can pass it around, I know it's time sensitive. I would say with my limited information that we should just start to support one another, and then let someone like you come along with those great ideas, those complex ideas that we can actually move things forward. I don't have the answer to that question. And with that being said, the last thing I'm going to say is this: we got to stop saying money is not important. I think sometimes we're talking about the green dollar. Even in civilizations of antiquity, there was always barter and trade. There was always money. When you took your people on the coast of an area or a civilization, you had to pay rent. It might have been 40 cattle, or it might have been 40 live offspring. It might have been fruits and vegetables. There was always barter and trade. There was always money. We got to remove from our vocabulary and our vernacular, money doesn't matter. That's the reason why we're in the position that we are right now. Let me tell you something real quick. Hope is for people that's unprepared. If I don't study for a test, that means I have to hope that I pass it. But if I work harder than the next person, I don't have to hope anything, because proper preparation prevents poor performance. In closing out, Alvin, I think you should be the one to talk about what we should need to do, because they need to hear what you told me a couple of weeks ago. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Go on ahead, Corwin. What would you like to add to that? Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh no, I was just going with small business. You know, you start small and you wind up big. You know, we support one another. That's the key word, support. We have to support one another, man. And we ain't been doing that. We run to them for everything, man.
Yeah.
Support Black business, man. You see Black business in the streets, support it. Go there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm learning from some old timers too. You know, they hustling and they go to Black business. They go to Black restaurants, you know, Black businesses, you know.
Yeah.
We have to support one another, man. We could have been up there, man, you know, if we supported one another, you know. I'll try to get me a sneaker store, man. What the kids buying now? Uptowns? You feel me?
Yeah.
Instead, I'd rather go buy a coat. I'd rather spend my money, give my money to somebody else instead of helping myself. That's the whole thing, man. I learned help yourself first before you help everybody else. You got to help yourself first. The business. It's your business to help yourself first. You don't do that, then you know, you more than likely you giving your money to somebody where it don't belong. It belongs with the Black people and Black business. If we don't love ourselves, then who gonna love us? If they see us doing that, they're gonna be like, oh man, they got it together, man. Right. They handing out business cards to each other. You know what I'm saying? We doing well, you know what I'm saying? But we're not doing that. We fighting each other.
We are, and I think a lot of that is unfortunately it's a cultural element that's been taught to us. Let's go to real quick. Let's go to go on. Let's see. Let's do this real quick. Hold on.
Please.
Go ahead, Saint, and then we'll go to Douglas, and then I'm gonna round this out, and then I'm gonna ask you guys all another question right after that. Go ahead, Saint.
Okay, and I'll be real quick. And I just wanted to acknowledge that we've had Black Wall Street and several other. We just need to acknowledge that these places get targeted and systematically destroyed. So it's not that, you know, Black people can and won't, and we are, you know, I hate to use the word victim because that's part of our problem too, but we are targets out here. And so we have to acknowledge that. And not only do we have to build these businesses and infrastructure and this and that, but we have to also avoid the enemy that's constantly coming at us.
Yeah, but we got people out here that got money. There's a lot of people got money.
Well, I'm going to touch on that in a second. Go ahead, Douglas, and then I'm gonna round this out, and then I'm going to ask everybody else another question real quick. Go ahead.
I think it's a 50-year plan, and all us on this stage is of age, so we can get the next generation halfway there. But I did see a social experiment in this town in Georgia, where it's not against the law to use what you call a banknote. I mean, the money represent the American money, and so what they will use is, if you're in this town, you want to get this town money, but you could trade it in for cash money. If you go outside the town, they will accept it, and it's not against the law. So when you use this banknote that represents your town, then you know that your funds are staying in that town. And I think that's something we should do in all Black cities across America. Because look, we talking like we don't have anything. All of us stay in Black cities. I'm pretty sure. We start right there in them cities. You know your water department, you pay your water bill, learn how the water system works, learn how foundations and houses and stuff is put in, learn agriculture, learn this on a massive level. You know, I know how to go out here and put in foundation. I used to put 5 in a day.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna be men, we're gonna have to build our community. As far as like the sewage system and stuff like that, we can use that escaped me. Septic, what you call that? They bury them in the ground behind the house, like
septic system.
Septic system, instead of having a pipe system through the whole sewer system. So we have to realize we got to start putting these towns together. If we don't do it with our generation, it's pretty much gonna be lost. So it's up to us to get our sons in order and get them in school. Now we don't need no more basketball players. We don't need no more football players. We don't need no more rappers. But we need architects, computer engineers, mechanical engineers, people. We need technical and construction people. And then we need to go stop crying and begging, and we need to get some land in Africa so we have a satellite, a sovereign land that don't belong to nobody in Africa, where we can conduct our own business or whatever we want to do over there. And I used to work offshore too, so I can tell you about the offshore business. I used to work on the Mississippi River. I used to climb upside of Russian ships in there.
Hey, Alvin, let me in.
I mean, I know that whole system, bro. That whole little shipping system. You'd be surprised what's going on.
Yo, Douglas wants to. Douglas is like, I'm trying to go back to the continent, and he's
I ain't trying to go back to the continent. I'm trying to stay right here.
But do what they
as a people, we should have about 500 million acres of land in the continent that support our people here.
Over here,
right here in this land. No, I ain't trying to go back to Wakanda.
Go ahead, Medina, and then I'm gonna because I want to ask another question.
Yeah, I get you.
Go ahead, Medina. Go ahead.
All right, just give me a minute and 30 seconds.
Go
okay,
ahead. You good? Go ahead.
So
go ahead.
I just bought a plot of land in West Africa. I'm not going to be specific. Okay, with that in mind, you're absolutely correct about what needs to happen, and that's something that. Forgive my movement. My battery's about to run out, but that's something that each one of us can do right now. Okay, so if you're looking for something practical that we can do, that can be done. Okay, next level is this. I've got 3 kids. My youngest is 10. She's going to be an architect. She already understands already. She knows she's studying CAD. She's studying drawing. She's going to be an architect. My second oldest is 13. He's going to be a mechanical engineer, and he's going to be a homeopathic doctor. He's in charge of building the garden in the backyard because he has to understand what food is, because if you understand food, you understand the body. Okay. My oldest, he's going to be an accountant. He's a sophomore in high school. He's already getting towards his associate's degree in accounting and finance. He'll be having his associate's degree before he graduates high school, have his bachelor's in accounting degree a year after he graduates from high school. He's also going to be an electrical engineer. So it's not even 50 years from now, like it's right now. So all of you brothers on the panel, if you want to own land in West Africa, I can get more specific once we talk. It's doable now, and it doesn't take a whole bunch of money at all.
Now, 50 years, I've been 50 years about really having real power, be an established power in the world.
I feel you.
Established, not you know what I'm saying.
But listen, you're exactly correct. And the other piece is this, is that although my kids have these very high level goals, I am insisting that they all have a trade. They all must have a trade, something that they can do with their hands. My daughter's 10. She makes food. She cooks everybody breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day. She's a magnificent chef. She's an excellent artist. My second oldest, he's a farmer. He knows how to take seeds and grow food from the ground. Yeah. And my oldest, I'm putting him into a mechanic school. Yeah. Because although you can do all these high level IT and finance, but when you want to build a system, you got to build it from the ground up. So I completely agree with you, brother.
So here's what I'll jump in on, and I think everyone had some great things to say, and they're all positive. But what I'm seeing, or what I'm realizing, is that we are all playing a game in a place where we don't particularly understand all of the rules. And I did a video on intellectual curiosity last week. And that's, what does that mean? That means just general curiosity about how things work, and I think a lot of us, even though we do have, that general curiosity, right? Some of us are into cars. How does that engine work? Some of us are into, I believe, we've got HVAC, we're doing that for a job, right? Or we're doing construction, we understand how the tools work. Well, we're living in a system, in a place that's got a bunch of rules set by some people, and we really don't exactly understand all of the rules. So I think what that means is that if I had to start one place, right, I would say, Dennis, how many people can we get through law school, right? Civil law, litigation law, right? Let's figure out how, because one of the biggest things that was taken away from us, we got swindled out of a lot of land, a lot of our ancestors, right? We got swindled out of a lot of land. They changed laws, and they figured out ways to change the, they changed city. They had city council meetings, under lock and key. They would change policies. They would, a lot of us didn't read very well because that wasn't something that was able for us, or that wasn't something that we were able to do. So I would start there if it were me. We need to cultivate an entire crop of attorneys so that we can protect what we have, because as of right now, we can't protect what we have. The reason why I think some of these athletes are jumping off the ledge the way that they are is because, once again, they understand that their money, their millions are futile, that all it takes is one call to the IRS, and just in case they weren't dotting their I's and crossing their T's, that the IRS can come ahead and take whatever they want from them, right? Or all it takes is a allegation, right? An allegation, and suddenly they can get locked up and get all of their things taken away also. So we have to learn how to protect ourselves first, because we at this stage of the game, we can't even protect what we have. And I think that, to me, is the starting point. Second to that is we need to, not only once we learn how to protect what we have, we need to be able to get to a place where we can lay our head and not have to worry about, the man being able to come kick our door in. So get to a place where, okay, where do we have an actual stronghold, like a real stronghold, where we say, okay, where I know that the sheriff and the police department and the peace, because I think you were talking about guns, right? Well, how can we protect ourselves? Well, on the ground level, in as far as the towns are concerned, there are no military, right? It's the police, it's the sheriff. So we need to be able to be in a position where we can control, and or we have a sheriff that's going to work in our best interest. So we have to protect our land and protect our what wealth we have. We have to find a place where we can lay our heads and actually work without having a whole bunch of extra stuff going on. And then we can start changing policies in those places. Go on ahead, Joe, and then I'm going to ask you guys another real question, and then we'll end on that. Go ahead.
I love what you said about the schooling. Knowing how much money that generates through the Black community, we need to take the best children and put them in school for astrophysics, mathematicians, scientists. This is how technology is built, because we can develop an army or go to war. And why should we go to war? Because, like you said, we got to be able to protect what we produce.
Yeah.
And this is, and what that does is this: when we are able to put our children, or the finest of our children, because all of them ain't gonna make it to that top tier, but the ones who reach the pinnacle or the apex of their education, the Black community needs to put them in school, pay for their funding, so they know who their allegiance allies to. Right now, their allegiance don't ally to us. Everybody wanted to trip about Obama. Well, we weren't the ones who put him through school. We wasn't the ones who paid for his education. So it baffled my mind that we thought that he owed us anything. So like you said, Alvin, we need to put the best of the best through school.
Yeah.
And we need to let them know that their education was funded by their people. Yeah. So when they go and get that knowledge, that information that's not accessible to us, they can bring it back in our community where we can benefit from it.
So and I'm going to segue on that, because and also to Lawrence Ross, shout out to you for your comment, because this is the next biggest problem. It seems as though we have a cultural problem, right? We have a cultural problem where we look down on education, where we look down on, where we look down on sticking together. We look down on so on and so forth. So the next question is, especially in a situation where I'm about to do something, I'm about to look for it. Hey, look, Slave Farms 2.0. Remember I said that. Slave Farms 2.0. I'm about to rattle some cages. I'm about to rattle, because that's what we're in, right? We've got a bunch of women controlling some kids, and with a bunch of illegitimate fathers that aren't able to raise their upbringing in a way that's the way that we need them to, because that's the problem that we're also running into, right? We, some of us, that the panel that we did on Dennis's the other day, out of 10 people that spoke, there was only 2 people that came from a 2-parent household, right? That only 2 of us, right? To the point to where I wanted to flip a table. I was so upset. So we have a larger problem because once again, it all sounds good, right? Send our kids, make them to be attorneys. We need, not everyone, Menadine, is able to, have influence over their children the way you do. In an ideal world, we would, but it seems as though we're not. So what would be, and we're going to try to keep our answers kind of short on this one. What would be the first thing that you would do to change our culture, to like get our culture under control?
Ban rap music.
Hold on. We're gonna be organized, right? We're gonna roll across the top and we're gonna roll across the bottom. Okay. So let's try to keep it short. But like one thing, pinpointed, and again, there is no one answer, there is no magic bullet. I understand that. But I think we need to start being a little bit more practical because I really want to fix this problem. I really do. And I think culturally is a big one because, staying on code is part of the culture. We need to bring staying on code part of the culture. And as of right now, it's not. Going ahead. What would be, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ask this question again. In your honest opinion, what's the best way or what's the best way that what part of the culture do you think we can change and how should we change it? Go on ahead, Douglas. I think you might be muted.
Yeah, like as far as Kyrie and Irving, I think that, first getting God back in everybody's heart, all the hard hearts, evil hearts out here is not how we're gonna build a nation. So that's, like I say, the purpose of what I'm trying to do, and that's why I salute Kyrie Irving. And far as what you saying, as far as defending the land, that's why I was saying 500 million acres, because what do a army look like? You ain't finna have one here. You know what I'm saying? But what if we build one in Africa that protect us and whatever diaspora people who want to join us in the diaspora? That's what it would look like. Because you ain't finna build no military here on this soil without getting a drone attack or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what do this stuff look like? First, we're gonna have to, like you say, build, and us as men, we got to show these kids the way. We looking at ourselves. These white people that taught us when you hit 40, you obsolete. Well, tell Trump to sit down. Tell Biden to sit down. We got to realize that we still able-bodied men. I ask all able-bodied men that in the 40s, you're not educated, start to get educated. Go on back to school, go online, get educated, and whatever you feel like they're gonna help your community.
How do you let's drill that down. How do we do that exactly?
Support your kids, support your family, support number ones first. Support, man. Then you can't support anything else if you can't support your family, your kids, man.
Yeah, gotcha. But we got to look past that. You got to look at that. Everybody always worry about their own family, their own kid. Okay, it's a family kid right next door to me, and the door out the
but that's not your problem.
Yeah,
that's not your problem.
It is my problem if the lady next door not raising her son right, and I walk out door in the morning and get my brain blown the fuck out. That is my problem.
This is very true. Menadine, go on ahead. I
didn't mean to be rude.
No, wait, hold on, because
you're not being rude, man.
Look, because I want to drill this down, because this is the right.
If everybody do their part, you wouldn't say that. If everybody did their part.
Everybody doesn't do their part because it's, again, culturally, right? It's like, because again, we have an issue. So like, so you're not wrong. And I think that we always touch on this, and it always gets blown up before you really get to the guts. Hold
on a second. These people are responsible for their children, not you. Not him, because if he says something to the kids, they're going to say something to him.
Corwin, hold on. We're going to get to you in just a second. Go on ahead, Menadine. So look, Menadine, right now, like I said, we have a cultural problem, right? We're living under some rules that we didn't make. We got our church hasn't upheld its end of the bargain, right? Not necessarily the words, but the building and the people in the building haven't upheld their end of the bargain, which has chased off people like me and chased off people that really could be doing good work because of what, right? So that is the crux that we never get a chance to talk about. So So Douglas says we got to add God back in, right? We got to figure out how to add God back in. I'm with that. What's a practical way that we can start to correct our culture? Go on ahead, Medellin.
Okay. It's not complicated. It's not easy, but it's not complicated. And it really starts with the individual. The Quran says that God will not change a nation until each person changes themselves. And so I'm going back to this accountability that we must all have for ourselves. We are all, as individuals, our best friends and or our worst enemies. You know the right way to live. Like, the right way to eat. If you're overweight. If you need to stop drinking. If you need to stop smoking. If you're healthy. If you need to read more. If you need to build physical strength. It all begins with you, because we are the example for our children. I am a single father. Okay. And so whatever I've managed to do with my kids, I managed to do as a single father. So if I can do it as a single father, and I got 3 of them, and I had to go through hell to get them, but I did it because it mattered. So I haven't done the impossible. I have not done anything that any other father on this planet cannot do. But it starts with you.
You lead by example.
All those, yes, lead by example. All of those things that you think, yeah, maybe I shouldn't. Stop doing it. Become the man that you want your son to be. Don't wait for the next generation. That's what it is. And that's the only way. It's the only way for each of us to be accountable for becoming the best man, the best human being that we can possibly be. And if we all do that, this will end in less than a generation.
Yeah.
I like that answer. Go ahead, JJ. What would you like to add? We're going to make our way around. Slim Shady is going to be next. Joe, we're going to make our way across the screen here. Go ahead, JJ.
Okay, I'm back. We need to find God-ordained pastors and weed out feminism, weed out these government-ordained pastors right along with feminism, where this stuff comes from in the first place.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Slim Shady, go ahead, brother. If you had to, because again, like I said, we have a dilemma we're in, right? We're in this trick bag. We're getting it from both sides, So in your honest opinion, if you had to just say, you know what, I think if we did X, how do we get everybody on code? Go ahead.
So my response is going to be simple. The whole duty of man is to keep the commandments. If we was doing that and we was practicing that with each other, we would be fine. We would know not to hate our brothers in our heart. We know not to backbite our brothers. We know not to sleep with each other's wives. We know not to be out here engaging in all kinds of madness. We don't trust each other because we engage in all these things as a community. It's all in our music. It's all in our culture. This is what people are seeing. So it's easy for a brother to be like, I don't care to rob him. I don't care to take his woman, because if he had the opportunity, he'd probably do it to me. That's how we're looking at each other. And there's plenty of brothers out there that want to do right, but our voices aren't necessarily as loud. So it's great that we have these spaces. So my solution is go back to the covenant that we had before. If we keep the commandments, we're going to be blessed and above every nation on this earth. If we don't do it, our behinds is going into slavery on slave ships. You're going to get pushed to all corners of the earth, and you're going to be on the bottom until you wake up and come back to the covenant that he gave you. That's the only answer. There ain't no other answer. It ain't no war. It ain't no voting. It ain't none of that. Because the Bible even tell you don't put nobody else over you as no king that ain't from your nation. So we still not listening. We're doing all the things that we think that our enemies have told us this is how you're supposed to operate. You're going to get your freedom doing it the way that we tell you to do it. It's madness. We got to separate ourselves from this BS, come back to our laws, our way of treating each other, and then we're going to be all right.
Now I'm gonna ask you, just because I want you. So we're living in this place, right, where we do have a set of rules that we have to abide by on the daily, right? We do live in this place, right? We do have to pay our taxes. We do have to so, and again, that sounds great on the surface, right? But realistically, we still kind of have to abide by some of these rules. No,
what rules?
I understand that. Give Caesar what's Caesar's.
Yeah.
But keep the Sabbath day also.
What rules are you talking
Don't hate your
about?
brother in your heart.
Well, I mean, because
do all those things.
I mean, I'm just trying to draw this out, right? I'm just trying to, because a lot of times we run into this brick wall where, at the end of the day, you can't spend $1 in this country without giving the white man a couple cents. You can't spend $1. You can't even give a black man another $1, right? I'm not monetized, but if you super chat me, you giving 30% to YouTube, right? You use your credit card, you giving 1.2% to the credit card company or 2.3% to the credit card company. You can't spend $1, right? So I agree with you. I'm not agreeing with you, but I'm saying, okay, so let's take that, but how do we ensure that we can roll that into what we're into the place that we're living now, right? Because we are living here now, unfortunately. Go ahead, Joe. I'm gonna come back to you, Slim Shady.
Okay, so let me try to consolidate this as best way I can. So what the brother just said, and correct me if I'm wrong, if we apply the commandments, we are going to be above and on top of the world. Well, my point of contention with that is this. We have been ruled by a people who have murdered, killed, raped, pillaged, and looted our land, not for a year or two, but for 450 years. They have broken every commandment possible, but yet they are still on top. We have this fanciful idea, and we love to embellish. We think that if we just sit back and pray to God, and I'm not, no disrespect to anyone, that something magical is going to happen. But even the Bible tells you faith without works is deplorable. Paraphrasing.
Okay, so Joe, so what, in your honest opinion, as of right now, you're right, like how in your what do you think is the quickest way? What's the way you would say, where do we need to start as far as getting ourselves back on code, fixing the culture, right? Like we got the culture's jacked up, like it's jacked up. So like we don't value education. We do, as a collectively as a group, at least we're not represented that way. I think we do, to be honest with you. I think as a whole, as a group of men, I think we do value those things. And that's going to lead to my answer. But go on ahead, Joe. My bad.
Okay, two things we need to do. First of all, one thing anybody can research this. Two imperative things that comes to culture is music and art. Right now, we live in a crime culture. And then we got to look at the art that's being displayed. Art is imagery. If you don't believe me, you can see why these corporations spend billions of dollars on commercials, because our subconscious mind deals with imagery. So first, we got to change the music we listen to, and we got to change the art. Secondly, we have to acquire wealth. We are not going to do nothing without wealth. I don't care how much y'all don't like money. I'm going to tell you why these Jews and these Arabs can shut y'all up, because they're controlling everything. You can believe in God all you want. Remember saying something, these Arabs, they believe in Allah. Christians don't believe in Allah.
Joe,
some of y'all would like to think Allah is not a real God, but they are controlling the world.
Hold on. So you're on to something. How do we stop the music? How do we do that?
Stop supporting it.
How do we change the art? Give me a practical strategy on how we're going to stop the music.
Great. I tell you what, money is everything. A lot of times the good brothers, we talk about the good brothers in community, and we talk about the Pookies and Ray Rays. But the problem with the good brothers and the Pookie and the Ray Rays is almost the same equivalence to the good cops and the bad.
Hold on, I'm not going to cut you off every time.
I'm getting to it. We got to stop supporting it with our dollars. Okay, we got to speak against it. We got to cut it off.
Thank you. That's what I appreciate. That's what I was looking for. Okay. Go on ahead.
I didn't mean the dumbest society, the one that spend the most money with the musicians, bro. So that's why they do what they do, because your favorite rapper put a dress on, but yet and still make more money because the dumbest society is the one who buying their music the most. I'm just saying,
why he puts the dress on? You know why he puts the dress on?
Because they sold their
soul. You know why he puts the dress on?
Because they sold their soul and they did a ritual.
No. First of all, we gotta understand this.
Hurry up.
Real quick. Billionaires, we always talking about selling out. First thing a businessman is going to do is sell out. That's his purpose. He needs to sell out. If you got a product, you're going to sell it out. Some people sell their minds, but what you got to understand, you go to the etymology of mind, soul, it means your mind. Some people are actually selling their minds. They're great ideas.
Okay, so
They
hold on.
want to take your manhood. Personally,
so-
from what I've seen.
Okay, hold on. But the only reason why they put
they
on
want to take
dresses,
your manhood before they make you famous.
I tell you what, if that producer tells him to put on a dress, he's paying that person's bills. If he doesn't put on a dress to please us Negroes, are we going to pay his bills? No, because we're broke.
Okay.
Well,
so
I walked away.
My apologies.
I walked away and called integrity. Like I say, back in 2017, 2018, 2019, you start seeing your favorite rapper put a dress on.
But do you know why they putting the dress on?
Yeah,
they putting the dress on because these people are important. I'll give you an example.
Well, hold on.
Hold on,
Joe, hold on. Look, we know, right? We know they're getting paid to do it.
They're getting paid to do it.
They're getting paid to do it. We know.
Paid to do it.
And we have to figure out a way to stay on code, meaning like
we need
to make it so shameful. Let me chime in.
I'm sorry, man.
No, it's all good. We need to make it so shameful for these men to do this that they know not to do it. We need to make it so embarrassing for these men to put a goddamn dress on that they don't put the goddamn dress on, because all of us don't put dresses on, right? A lot of these guys, a lot of these comedians that didn't put the dress on, that didn't get elevated, right? They tell you can find a handful of them, right?
But look, Charles Barker had a dress on. Look what he doing. See, everybody who wearing the dresses, they come out them they damn puppets.
Right, exactly. So we know that there is. And we know because some of us say no and some of us say yes. So we know that enough of us know that you shouldn't put on the goddamn dress. Aren't all of us? Can I ask Douglas next a question? Yeah, hold on just a second. Saint, go on ahead. We're going to come back. Saint, go ahead.
If you dialogue, I'm taking notes.
Well, you know what? Look, here's the thing. Like, I know this conversation always goes sideways, and there's so many times I want to be like, yo, hold on, you're onto something, but we just got to drill it in a little bit. Like,
I was agreeing with the brother. I was just getting him insight inside of the music business.
I know. Joe Martin is passionate. Joe Martin is passionate.
Really running this. You got to definitely take the itch people who run the music industry on all that shit.
Absolutely.
They try to take the manhood, do all that kind of shit to these niggas, and to be finding me. I just talk about that.
That's what I'm talking about. Saint, go on ahead, brother. If you had to, I love what Douglas said.
My bad, brother.
No, it's all good. You good, Saint. So like I said, and I'm gonna try to bring this question back again. It seems as though we have a cultural problem, right? We have a problem where we're not staying on code. We're not kind of, I don't know who that is. That might be Saint. We have a cultural problem. What, in your estimation, is the best way, if you just had to pick one thing and one way that you could use to kind of get us back on track? What would it be?
I hate to say it, but I agree with what the young man said. As far as I agree with everybody, we definitely have to change the culture. And what you said, we have to make it so shameful, where even if we need to split our race, but we need to split our race. Like, they've already divided and conquered us. We got the house niggas and the sellouts, except we're calling each other that instead of the real sellouts, like the Charles Barkleys and the people putting on dresses and being effeminate for money. So to me, that goes back to, for our culture change to happen, I don't want to use the word religion, because religion is not what we've been trained it is. But getting back to, like he said, the laws in the Bible, teaching our men to be real men, putting the families back together, and then all that selling your family out, putting on a dress, all that shameful stuff. If we train generations of these real men, that's not even going to be an option. That's not even going to be an option and the people who do take that option will be outcast.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Corbin, go on ahead, brother. Same question to you. So, and let me I'll ask it again for you real quick. So it seems as though, we have a culture problem. We always touch on this culture problem. We don't value education. We don't, at least outwardly, right? Outwardly, we don't value, education. We don't outwardly value being on the cutting edge of technology and so on and so forth. We don't obviously we don't have control of our women and so on and so forth. So the culture is broken. What, in your estimation, would be where would you start if, and in a practical way, what thing would you do to try to get us all back on code? Corwin.
I'll put this on the top, man. I don't care what nobody else say. I would have to say, stop the violence. I would stop the violence, man. Every group, wherever there's violence being portrayed against one another, I would stop that first. Because we can't go on like there ain't nothing going to work.
How?
If we don't stop the violence.
Hold on.
If we don't stop the violence.
Okay, but how would you how would you do that?
Make a better policing system.
Okay. So you would say that we're living in a place where we don't exactly have that kind of.
We don't have no control.
Okay, so
we have to get back in control because everything is out of control.
I don't disagree. I'm not disagreeing with you. Now, like I said,
I don't like to brag, but I know billionaires that lived across the street. They on top right now because they focused on their craft. They didn't let the distractions like we are mad about on this panel. The distractions distract them. Yeah. They did what they had to do. Now they billionaires. I know people like this. A couple of them. Yeah. So what would you? He had to get away. He had to get away, and he still deals with it with different people. The violence and the disagreements. We have to,
Would you say the violence is part of our culture?
Oh, what? Are you kidding me, man?
I mean, like
dying every day.
I didn't ask you that.
Killed.
I didn't ask you that.
Do I think violence is a part? Yes.
Do I think violence is a part of? No, I'm being serious. I'm not being. Do you think violence is a part of the culture? Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
What do you? How do we? So we got to get rid of how do we change? And I'm gonna pose this question to everybody. But so if violence is part of the culture, and we need to get rid of the violence, how do we get the violence out of the culture?
How do we get the violence out of the culture? By, like I said, more policing, people getting involved, the community. If they know somebody doing something to somebody, you say something. They used to say that on the news all the time. If you know something, you see something, say something. And when we see things go down in our community, we don't say nothing sometimes. Most of the time, we don't say nothing.
Go on ahead.
And I disagree with that. Look at the onslaught of rappers. I know it got people not liking certain brands of rap now. It's not the rap. It's the people. It's the people that's messing up the rap.
Saint, go ahead, Saint. Go ahead. And then look, here's what. And Saint, unfortunately, whatever your audio is, once you get done speaking, just go ahead and hit that mute button. Okay. Go ahead, Saint. Finish up. Go ahead.
Okay. Some kind of way, and I definitely have the answers, but we need to. What's the way to put? First of all, we need to acknowledge and start our own, for lack of a better word, propaganda machine that this current quote unquote culture that we have as Black people is not a real culture. This chitlins and this and that was slave culture that was given to us. And so we need to educate our people to that fact. And then we need to create a new real Black culture, not cooning, rap, teaching our kids to kill each other and then celebrating that and saying, well, only dumb people really go shoot each other. I just enjoy the music. No, we need to recognize if you set your kid in front of Sesame Street for a few hours, they learn the ABCs. If you sit and watch a certain TV show or listen to a certain song long enough, you're learning something whether you want to or not. It's called program, television program, and radio program, and the powers that be know this. We need to acknowledge this and use their same tactics on ourselves, but to our benefit instead of to our detriment.
I like that. Okay,
Can I say this about
yep,
rap right quick though?
absolutely. Go ahead, Douglas.
Is the Most High killing the rap hip hop? I don't wish none on none of these rappers that done passed away, but is the Most High sending a signal telling people rap ain't what you need to be doing? Because you got to think about all these kids seeing all these rappers die. You think they want to be a rapper now? Like, see, as soon as you start rapping, you might get shot in the face.
They do though, and
Yeah,
see, and here's what people aren't realizing.
The real little kid, not the teens, like the real little kid.
Here's what people aren't realizing, and I don't. And again, I call this simple shit TV for a reason. Okay, what people haven't really started to understand is they don't put gang member anymore. They put rapper. Look at the news. They don't put gang member anymore. It's rapper. Rapper dies. Rapper this. Rapper that. So what we're not realizing is that it's already happening, right? There's a media onslaught. What I would say is, if I had to practically get, and I touched on it a second ago, the practical thing that I would do to get everybody back on code is that I hate Twitter. I really don't exactly understand how it works. It makes my brain hurt. When I look at it, it looks like Latin, but I do realize that it is a powerful thing. I spent 2 hours yesterday trolling the shit out of Jewish people that were calling us anti-Semitic. I was like, that's not even what that means. You're being facetious. You don't even know what that means. I copy and pasted the definition of what it was, and I was slamming it into these people's In my opinion, where we need to start is directly at the media. We need a concerted effort to scrub the internet of not only the lies and the propaganda, but anything that we deem unnecessary or not good for our culture. The violence, we need to shame it. The baby mama-ism, we need to shame it. The thoughtism, we need to shame it. And a concerted effort, not just like I might kind of whatever. I mean, we need to figure out how to monetize it, and we need to go hard directly at all of these people that are profiting from this filth. And again, I'm not a Bible beater. I'm not. But like I see that what Sukiana and the Glorilla and the whatever, and I see these girls got they bare hoo-has with a little bit of cloth between that and God's green earth and shaking it for everyone to see. Somebody paid for that. So they think that that's okay. So in my honest opinion, just like we're sitting here today, right? If I said, look, I'm doing and I'm working on this. This is something I'm actively doing. I'm working on an anti-propaganda machine. And I'm saying, look, we are going to go directly at these people that are promoting and pushing this stuff. We are going to shame these people right out of this behavior, because the thing of it is, no other group of people do this. You don't see no little, small hat girls out here tooting on a handstand, right? You don't see that. You don't see these little Chinese girls doing it. You don't see these little Korean girls doing it. Yeah, you see them doing a little of it, but like what there was who was Scottie Pippen's wife? Didn't she go and get on OnlyFans, and her pop? She's 50 years old. Her pops called her and was like, no, we ain't doing that.
So it's the content that's destroying our people. So then, just like you're doing now, I look at this as a propaganda machine. So
Absolutely.
Then we must promote anti-content to fight against the content that they're correct.
Absolutely.
So that's what we have to do. And video games and movies.
Absolutely.
And everything.
Absolutely.
Because that's the mind. Yeah, so that's why I say we have to, like I say, I personally got
because money, because they doing it for money. They got to make money. Everybody got to make money.
You know what? I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad that you said that.
Everybody got to make money from it.
I'm so glad that you said that. So here's what happened that I think that people don't really understand. What did Kevin do and I'm talking I'm talking about Kevin Samuels, the great Kevin, the late great Kevin Samuels. What did he do that shook up the world? What people don't realize. What he did was he said that there's profit in Black businesses. That's what he was trying. That was one of the underlying undercurrents of what he was doing. That there's profit in Black business, and not in the type of Black business that we're used to seeing on the other side, but there's profit in doing good Black business, right? And so what, in my opinion, we have to show that it's more profitable for us to do it this way than that way. True. And I think that kind of falls in the same thing. We're going to go around at least one more time. Menadine, going ahead. What would you like to add to this? So I'm saying, okay, obviously there is a media issue, right? A lot of these men aren't in their homes to raise their children. Their children are being raised by iPads, televisions. They're going to schools where people don't know what their kids are being taught. So they're not, all these men aren't exactly connected to their children the way, so we don't have control of our kids the way we'd like to, right? So if we had to affect the media and try to affect the message, what would you say, or how would you, what would you like to, like, what's your take on what I just said?
Okay, well, I don't understand though why you acquiesce to the idea that men cannot have control over their children. I mean, why is that a given?
Yeah. See, we hold on. Okay, because I know that we've had this. Well, you've had this conversation over on Dennis's, and this has always been a little bit of a point of contention. I know. A couple of the other people on the panel have children, and they're not able to affect their children on a regular basis. So whether or not there are financial hurdles, whether there are legal hurdles, I believe every man that I know has wanted to be in their children's lives, but there have sometimes been circumstances beyond their control. Not everybody is as solid as you, brother. Not everybody can be in the position that you're in. So we have to succumb to, unfortunately, the system that we're in. So I know where you're coming from, but not everybody can. Go ahead and finish what you're saying.
I mean, I don't really know how to respond to that, because I don't succumb to the idea that I cannot be connected to my own children regardless of the circumstance. I mean, even if I have one day a week with these children, but I fought for more than that. But the reality is that I'm connected because these are my children, and I refuse to be disconnected. I simply categorically refuse. I refuse. I fought hand and nail to make sure that I had the custody of my children, and I wasn't taking no for an answer. I didn't. I know several brothers that it got too hot and they gave up, and for peace of mind and emotional health and whatever reasons. But I brought them here, and so I'm not going to bring them here and abandon them. That's just my bottom line. And so I can't speak to the idea that I simply give my children to the system and then I have to contend with the system. I can't do that. And so my only perspective is very simple. My children are growing up somewhere between 1976 and 1984. They don't know. They couldn't name you a Jay-Z song. They couldn't name you a Beyonce song. They have no idea who Kanye West is. They don't know any of these people because it's not their business.
Are you are in the States, right? Correct?
Yes.
I'm asking a serious question. I'm not clowning. All right,
yes.
All right. And hold on.
I'm on planet Earth too.
No. Well, because look, I'm asking for a very good reason, right? Yeah. Because you're talking about a circumstance that seems almost impossible, right? So what I really want to do is say, okay, well, how exactly do you keep your children from experiencing any of these other things completely? Meaning, like, because they did in your house, but what when they go to school, do they have phones? Do they have devices? Do they have?
No, they do not.
No.
Okay.
My
All
job
right.
as their father is to
You,
protect
you want to
body,
introduce it to
spirit,
them.
and mind. And so I protect their body, spirit, and mind with 100% efficacy to the best of my ability. Now they go to school and they might get some exposure to the other kids, but that's the minority of their time. The majority of their time they're with me, and so I
Okay.
have full access to their mind. They can't listen, man. The system can't beat me. If I'm zoned into my children, ain't no system can beat me.
Okay.
They are my
I'm
seed.
not gonna argue with you. Hey, look, I'm not gonna argue with you. Look, and look, and again, you just have to understand how crazy it sounds. Is because because again, we're like I said, I'm not in an ideal world, we would all, I mean, I don't have any kids. We would all love to be able to do that. But it seems as though that there's a lot of gentlemen that can't. Hold on, Joe, real quick. JJ. So
Well, listen, I'm a parenting coach. So if any of you brothers are having a hard time, I've been through divorce, I've been through custody, I've been through all the battles. If you have some questions and you need some advice, just get in touch with me. I put my Instagram there. I'll be happy to talk to you, brothers.
yeah, because
It's
again,
possible.
in an ideal world, like I said, that's how I would love to be able to raise my children. I don't have any, like I said, that's how I would absolutely love to be able to do that. It seems as though knowing how everything works and how everything is set up, and the indoctrination of children and I, we know how, little girls, they wear one thing out the house, they get around the corner and they put the little dress on, the little booty,
Yeah.
they go to they say they're sleeping over at their friend's house and they end up somewhere else. We know all the tricks. We know that it's very difficult to be able to say that we have carte blanche over everything that our children are consuming. And again, I don't have any kids. All I know is just what I've seen. I've been a child, right? And I've done the shenanigans. I've been involved in the shenanigans, so I know. But what you're saying is great in an ideal world. It just I don't know how realistic it is for a lot of
But
men.
how? Because I live in the real world, so.
But exactly. So you're doing it, which is why I'm not. So I don't want you to think I'm not saying it. I'm trying to give you your props. That's what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to say that, like, look, it is clearly it is possible because you're doing it, but it is a very rare thing. You are a 1%er when it comes to that. JJ, real quick, what would you like to add? Because I don't think you have children either, right, brother? You don't have any kids, right?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you like me.
43.
Yeah.
I'm 43 and I don't have any kids, and I say it's very important to protect your kids. If I would have any, to protect them from the media, social media, the junk. Be strict about the dress code, the type of friends they have, the type of events, school events they get in, all that kind of thing. Um, and make sure they, read the Bible and understand examples of what they're reading out in the world, and they'll see the seriousness in it and take it more seriously.
Okay.
And I'm
Go
out with
ahead.
that one.
Okay, I like that. Hey, thank you for coming through, brother. I appreciate you. Go ahead. Slim Shady, what would you think?
Well, could you repeat the question again? It's been quite a
Yeah, a lot. There's a lot going on. So look, we've got a. I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to come back to this thing again. We've got. What's the most practical way, in your honest opinion, that we can correct this culture or get our culture back on target?
I think we need to establish a certain set of values that we all can agree upon, and where we have some dissension against those values, then I think we do need to use those shaming tactics. Look, there's certain things that we're not going to do. If our brother is into it with another nationality or nation online, we're not going to come on here and bash him, because if you come after him, I'm coming after you. G-checking on the spot. I mean, I literally been online all week arguing people today blue in the face to where they ain't got no argument left. It's like, yo, you want so LeBron, you come out and say whatever you're gonna say, and I like you as a basketball player, but when it's your turn, I don't want to hear nothing. When those same folks come after you with the same ferociousness, the same ferocity, I don't want to hear nothing from you. So if you come over here and say something out of pocket against your brother, I'm gonna be right here to G-check you, and I'm not gonna leave you alone. I'm the type of person, like when Kevin Samuel, rest in peace, passed, and people's online talking crazy, I was all up and down their walls.
Yeah.
Talking about them, talking about people in their family. And yeah, it's wrong. You shouldn't have to fight fire with fire, but like when you see that type of evil, rear his head online where people are rejoicing over a man's death and he looked like you. I'm like, y'all some chocolate covered white supremacists, for real, for real. You've been behind enemy lines too long. You have no idea that you're still behind enemy lines because we got this semblance of freedom because you can go to job, make a little bit of money, come home, grab a beer every now and then. No, this is warfare and people are playing at a high level against us. And so us taking up for other people, that's got to stop. We got to be about us first. Serve ourselves first. And when people don't align with the things that we think they should be doing, we should stop it. Ain't no way people should be able to look at Black American women and identify them with whores halfway around the world based on the content that they putting out. It's sick.
Yeah.
It's sick. We should not be out here purporting ourselves as like gangsters with guns and we shooting and killing everything else. That's how people look at us around the world. They're not looking at the brothers in the suit. They're not looking at the brothers with the trucking companies. They're not looking at the brothers and saying that's the Black American image. There's a reason why those folks say stay away from them. Don't marry them. It's because the stuff that we willing to put out because we want to get a little bit of money. And we got to move away from that value system. Money, you can't be valued with money like that. It's about community and us being together. And that's why I always go back to those commandments. So when they say, when Dave Chappelle say, oh, this guy kept trying to come back and get me to wear this dress, it feels like whenever you almost make it in Hollywood, they want you to wear a dress. Well, if we simply go to the commandments, they already told you not to do that. They told the women not to dress like men and the men not to dress like women. There was a reason for that. It's a spiritual implication behind all this stuff that we're doing. And because we don't honor that, because we can't tell nobody nothing, we just out here just doing as thou wilt. And it's not helping us. If we just stop and say, is the stuff that we're doing, is it helping us today or is it harming us? I think most objective people say it's harming us. We need to go in a separate direction, hit that 180 and go back in that direction. Because the only thing that we have not tried to do as a community is to keep the commandments. And that's where you have to have the faith that the work that you're going to do is going to relieve you of some of this pain and agony that we've been suffering from as a people. And if you practice those works to show your brother and your sister that you love them, that I'm here for you. Because if I love you, if I'm doing the commandments, I'm not going to cause you harm. I'm going to be there for you when you need me.
Okay, I feel that.
Be doing.
I feel you. All right, Joe, go ahead, bro. I know you were chomping at the bit.
It's about 1 o'clock here, so I'm gonna jump off a little bit.
All right, man. Hey, I appreciate you. I'm glad. Thank you so much, you guys. Like I said, hey, man, this was the first. I swear to God, I've done a couple of streams on my own just to practice, and I was swear to God talking to myself. This is the first time I ever had a panel like this, so I appreciate all of you guys for coming through. Thank you so much. Like, I'll be doing after streams with Dennis on a regular basis. This will be a regular thing, and we'll kind of maybe try to keep in the same breath of whatever broadcast he has generally, but maybe a little bit different. I like to bring things down a little bit and it'll be a little more simple is that way for a reason. So thank you for coming through. I appreciate you, bro. Joe, go ahead. What would you like to add? And we'll kind of make this closing for everybody. But go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to have a quick response to Men of Dean. But before I get started, I want to say, brother, you my elder. So I'm going to take it easy on you.
Hold on here. Okay, real quick. Okay, before we do this, we're gonna make a rule here. Okay. Now, one of the rules that I, since I got all y'all here, one of my rules is I don't use the N word. Okay. So we won't be using that word here. Just kind of like that's rule number one. I don't use that word. I think it's demeaning and I don't like it. So first and foremost, we'll never use that word. 2, we're going to address positions, not people. We're going to address facts, not feelings. So I understand so let's, instead of addressing Men of Dean, let's address maybe something that he said in our concept, okay? Because we're not going to address anybody in particular, because I want to keep it respectful over here. I don't, we're all that shenanigans that goes on these other channels. We're not going to do that here. So that being said, and I know what you're saying and everything. I just wanted to make that clear that you're addressing the position that he takes, that he's able to control and manipulate his own household and his children in his own way, despite where we live and how we go. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, respect. Thanks for clearing that up. I'll try to reword this. So, but it's kind of hard because he made the statement, so I just want to clarify. But what I will say is this: I'm gonna work on that. You know me, I got a lot of work to do. So let's just say that the idea of what certain people can do with their children is phenomenal. It's breathtaking. It's the exception to the rule, right? So sometimes we can make an argument I can't say his name, of course, that, yo, listen, just because I got shot 5 times and lived.
Hold on. Okay, look, man. Here,
Oh, man.
No, because this is look. Hold on. Because here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take this as a learning experience. Okay, we're gonna take this as a learning experience. We're gonna take this as a learning experience because it's easy. People like to be on the internet, be throwing shots. And,
No.
Look. We understand. We've already addressed that Men of Dean situation is not typical, right? Not typical, right? And it's not typical because for a lot of different reasons. So it seems as though you're on the other side of the spectrum. How about this? And let's be a little bit more. Do you because you have children? No? Do you have children?
Yes.
Okay. And you think that it's what he said, or at least the idea that you can control your children in that way, you find to be difficult, correct?
No.
Okay, go on ahead.
So I agree with everything he says, but this is the thing. Sometimes we have reality and we have the exception to the rule. So I'll give you an example. If I get shot 5 times and live, I can't go out and telling other people that guns don't kill you. Just because I lived, we all know that guns kill. So in retrospect to the conversation, what I was trying to get at is that what that brother's doing, he's taking control of his reality. But that's not the reality of the majority of the people in our culture. So I would just like to focus on, hey, look, the small percentage over here is doing this, great. But what about this big body of people over here that's not? Again, in retrospect, just because I get shot and live, I'm not going to walk up to nobody on this panel and tell them, yo, just because I live, that guns don't kill.
Okay, real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
So what do you, in your honest opinion, what is the biggest hurdle of men being able to control their own kind of environment? Go ahead. I'm asking you.
Once again, accumulating wealth. And just to touch on it, when we go back to the rappers we were talking about, why do these rappers rap about violence? Because in order to get a record deal, you have to have a certain image and you have to be rapping that's according to a certain agenda or amalgamated with a certain agenda. But until we can develop income where we can create our own record companies, then we can begin to produce the narrative. It all goes back to generating wealth, because wealth is power. And when we have power, we have influence. Right now, we don't have influence. And it's kind of hard for me to look at these rappers and look at these people.
Hold on. Okay.
Real quick. We're
not rappers.
Real quick, please.
Look, we're talking, but hold on, listen, because you were talking about the masses, right? If we're talking about the masses and the majority of people, then the majority of the people aren't rich rappers. They're not. So for those of us on the ground, right? For those of us on the ground, in your estimation, what do you think is the biggest hurdle for men to not be able to control their own environment, i.e. their children and their families?
Okay.
In your honest opinion, in your honest estimation.
Got you. Beautiful question. You ask great questions. Everybody's not going to be saved, and we don't need every black person to be on the court. We just need enough people to be able to do business and be able to control our own narrative.
I'm going to ask the question again. In your estimation, what is the biggest problem that men on the ground have that keeps them from being able to control their houses and their children and their environment? What do you?
I answered that already. It's lack of income and resources.
Money. Okay. All right. Cool. Got you. Thank you. No, I just wanted to drill it down. Saint, go ahead. So, Saint, what would you like to add, brother? And again, we're going to kind of treat this as a little bit of a closing, but so kind of closing statements and sum it up like what you'd like to get off. Go ahead.
No, you guys cover money, power, the culture in general. It's not popular. It's they don't have the proper motivation. Once our young men, we start off with the wrong foundation. They relationships aren't serious from the beginning. You get a young lady pregnant that they had no intention on being with in the first place. Then the family's broken from there, or even if they did have intention on getting with the young lady, she didn't have intention on getting with them. We're like I said, we're generations of being culturally targeted. A lot of these people come from broken homes in the first place, so we have to fix that. We have to fix the family, which is easier said than done. But once we start putting up good, how to lack of a better word, positive role models, we need to create generations. This is a generational thing, so it's not going to be a overnight process. I hate to say our generation is almost a lost cause. We need to start working on this next generation, and while we fix ourselves at the same time. It's like they said in a movie, you're flying in a spaceship while you're fixing it at the same time. I guess you're working on your car while you're driving down the street, but that's what we got to do to try to get ahead in this thing.
I feel that. All right, great points. Corin Lucky, go on ahead, brother. Now, so like I said, we're kind of treat it a little bit as a little bit of a closing, but in your honest opinion, what are some practical things that we can do as a people to start to right this? And again, I know there's we can be up in the clouds and we can have our theories as to what, but like let's try to drill down maybe some practical things that we can do as a people that can really kind of start to move the needle. Go ahead.
I agree with the panel. The less you expose your children to, the better off they are. Introduce to them books, because they and they tell you that what you don't know, they'll put it in a book. Expose your children to books. If they don't like to read, ask them what they like. Let them read that. You know what I'm saying? Reading is fundamental. Don't introduce your kids to a lot of things that's not going to benefit them. Teach them how to eat, how to read. That's the most important thing, is teach the children how to read and understand what they read. And leave the TV, the music, the radio. And I mean, the radio is okay because, certain stations, I had a radio. I tuned into, R&B at the time. At the time when I was coming up, it was disco, R&B. It was good music at that time. I don't like to blame anything on music. Our rappers tend to use it in a negative way. That's all. But because they make money off it. They portray that lifestyle. They dig in that lifestyle. But some kids, that's the whole problem. They listen to the music, the rap music, and they think they gangster after that. But the less you introduce to your child and your children, the better off they are, man. Because a lot of stuff that's out now, especially, ain't no good for the kids to hear or watch or listen to on TV. And they come out.
So do you have? So do you, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to interrupt, but do you? And again, I'm not trying to qualify. Again, like I said, I'm not trying to qualify whether you do you have children?
Yes, I do.
And do you and are they with you?
No, I don't introduce my kids nothing.
But I mean, like, are they? Do you live with them?
No. I know what they do though. I know what they like. I know what my oldest daughter works. I got 3 kids.
Okay.
My middle daughter, I'm problem with her. She don't want to go to work. My oldest daughter works, and my son, he's a kidney patient, so he can't do much. But I know what all my kids do. I support my kids. I'm done with child support. I'm there for them. They call me, come by anytime they want to.
Yeah.
But I don't introduce them into nothing negative. You can't do that. If you see your kids doing negative, you school them. You know what I'm saying? I don't try to school nobody else's kids. Like the man Douglas was saying, you see the kids doing something wrong, you say something to them. A lot of parents don't like that or agree with that. The first thing they say, you ain't their father. You don't tell them what to do. And the kids will tell you that. Our kids are smart. They pick up, man. They pick up on a lot of negative stuff, a lot of things, man. And no, it's just unfortunate what we are going through, what we're going through now. It's worse. It's worse. I mean, to see it this magnified with the basketball player. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought that only happened to small people that's working these jobs, but it's like, wow. Today I'm like, I'm shocked.
They're selling their soul, man. They're selling their soul, and I think I'm gonna do a broadcast on scale. And what I mean by scale is that we don't understand as a people. Again, we don't understand scale, where we don't understand, how far our reach goes and how many people that we affect. And we don't affect the amount of dollars. We don't understand money and dollars, right? Again, culturally, we've been kept ignorant, and we don't know how money works. We don't know how the laws work. Half the people that I experience on the internet don't even understand what the First Amendment really means, right? Like the majority of people don't even understand that slavery was never actually taken off the Constitution. They just changed how it was interpreted. Like a lot of times we are abiding by these rules, and we're living in this place where these laws are over us. And again, God said, right? God is in the Bible that the rules, the laws, the man's supposed to have some laws, and we do live under these laws, but we don't understand how they work. And that's how we get bound up. Douglas, let's go on ahead. Let's just do a quick kind of like, what would you like to add to just kind of close everything out? We'll come back to you saying, we're going to do one more pass all the way through. Let's try to keep it to like 30 seconds, more of a summary, and then I'll close this thing out. Okay, go ahead, Douglas.
Yeah, I think that our society put us in survival mode, which naturally, if you look at the psychology of it, when Homo sapiens put in survival mode, they're only going to worry about themselves and their offspring. So that's what we're in. Now we're at the point now that we'll move to the middle class, and we're not so much in survival mode. And we are able to have discussions on panels like this, where if all of us were in person in a room together, we wouldn't even be trusting each other or talking to each other in the manner that we are now. We probably all be clutching. You see what I'm saying? So we able to have intelligent conversations. Yeah.
Really?
we able to have
really,
intelligent conversations. Man, yeah, I'll probably be clutching with 4-5 dudes in the room with me. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Holding on something.
I'm too nice.
Holding on something, man.
Go ahead. I'm too nice. I'm sorry.
I ain't want to get into the too nice. Well, bro, I'm from down south, bro. Hey, we don't have no gun law like that.
I feel you.
Everybody can toting a gun down south. So
yeah,
you get
Jesus Christ.
Way down here, if something might happen to you. You know what I'm saying?
Right, guns are important. I'm gonna do another broadcast on that one.
I ain't want to get into guns and that.
I'm gonna bring that up. We're gonna do something on that, because Clarence Thomas, I've been digging into him lately, and he's been fighting for black people more than people really realize. But that's for another day.
I got this bust in right now. They might bust in while we live.
I know.
I ain't want to show that like this.
Man, I know it's all good. Menadine, brother. Let's go on. Go ahead.
They're real prop gun. Don't worry about that.
It was all props. All props.
We have power now. We starting to understand like that black man think like me. I agree with that black man. You know what I'm saying? Now we have the power to understand that the manosphere is a group of like-minded people, and it's a large group. And if we take that and wield that power and start building institutions to hand down to our sons, keyword sons.
Yeah.
And if it ain't your son, your nephew or whatever male in your family, your cousin, but we have to build institutions and pass down to the next generation. You wonder why the young boys don't respect us? Because you ain't got nothing to give them. Because the white boy know that the elder white man gonna hand him something, gonna leave him something behind, and an instruction manual to go with it. So we got to be the fathers or forefathers, righteous, God-fearing, humble men under the Most High, and lead this generation. Because if we don't, you just gonna have a bunch of dress-wearing, carpet munching daughters out here doing whatever. And I mean, let it be real. These girls, we all know what they're doing, bro.
We know.
Let's just play no game. These women out here carpet munching, and these niggas, these dudes out here killing over nothing.
Over nothing.
You know what I'm saying? So
appreciate that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna land my plane. I know you said you wanted to short.
No, it's all good. Go ahead, Menadine. Let's go. What would you, just in closing, you can, round up what we spoke about earlier and kind of and spool it all together. I know there was some contention with the ability of being able to, kind of control a household and your children and so on. But what would you like to close? What would you like to add to close this out?
That the solution doesn't lie beyond any of us. The solution to all of this lies within you. And we all have the ultimate power over ourselves. And if you build within yourself a man of integrity, faith, and discipline, there's nothing that you can't accomplish, and there's nothing that is beyond your grasp. And it really is that simple. Wealth, financial wealth, assuming that this is the definition of wealth, is a byproduct of being a man of integrity, direction, focus, and purpose. And that's all that I have to say.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Slim Shady, brother, what would you like to add to kind of close this out? You've been quiet over there. Go ahead.
But first off, I'd just like to thank the brothers for continuing the conversation over here. This is always like a really great time that I jump on and be able to hear you all out and kind of get a different perspective, or even just kind of double down on my perspective as well. I'm going to say the same thing I'm always going to say. If you ever ask me how we fix this whole thing, it's coming back to our covenant. Keeping law, statutes, commandments. That's it. Faith and keeping the commandments. That's it. Appreciate your brother's time.
Oh man, thank you so much, brother. Let's go with Corwin. We're gonna come to you last, Joe. Corwin, Lucky, what would you like to add to just kind of finish us off here? And then we're gonna go to Saint, then we'll go to Joe. Just closing words.
Okay. I got a lot out of this today, and made me a little better, made me think about what can I do? What can I really do now? It's time to step up. And that's about it. You ask a lot of good questions, man, and I don't know what can we do now, but just stop killing each other, man. Stop killing each other and beating on each other, and just come together, man, and do the right thing, man. The right thing is to support each other, man. Get a business card up. Start passing it around. Support Black business, man.
Yeah.
Take care of your children, man. If you can't do that, then you out the game. If you can't support for your children and one another, there's no hope. And that's the way it looks right now. That's it.
Appreciate that. Appreciate your words. And like I said, thank you for coming up and shooting
welcome,
this stuff
man.
with me, man. And like I said, y'all,
Welcome.
this is the first one for me. So Saint, going ahead, what would you like to kind of add in closing? And like I said, you can loop in everything that we spoke about earlier and so on. Go ahead.
Okay, and I'll try to be brief. I took some little notes. I hope it makes sense. But just as a Black community, sometimes we need to, in my opinion, stop making excuses and minimizing the negative impact that some of our so-called leaders have, and stop putting them in leadership positions like these athletes and whatnot. Like you guys said earlier, we need to shame the negative on a consistent basis. We need to uplift the positive, and not to be controversial, but we do need to get back to it takes a village. There's other cultures like the Chinese. It's auntie uncle, even if you're not real auntie uncle. And white people, what we call white supremacy, you might call good business, whether it's nepotism, giving your kids a job and that sort of thing. We don't have that in the Black community. So we need to start uplifting each other and having some Black supremacy, not in a racist way, but in a smart way, taking care of each other. And that is whether we're helping out with the kids or say, hey, you're doing the wrong thing because that kid is raised wrong. Like he said, my house might get shot up too, and so on and so forth. So we can't, it doesn't feel good. And people get mad, and that's controversial. But in the bigger scheme of things, is it the right thing to do? Yes, it's the right thing to do. So we got to start stepping up and doing the right thing. Like my man said, that goes back to the good book tells us, hey, when you see your brother, salute him, say, hey, uplift each other, and so I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
what's up. That's what's up, man.
I'd love to chat with you guys again. This has been a great experience for me. This is my first time doing something like this. So I
Hey
appreciate
man, we're gonna keep building. We're gonna keep, like I said, I'm building this plane on the runway. Go ahead, Joe. Closing arguments, whatever. Hey, and can we talk about how everybody's got these strong ass beards? God damn it. Y'all be pissing me off, man. Y'all got me. I get like right about this point, and this is where it starts to itch and get on my nerves, and I cut it off. But right? Sorry, my bad. Go ahead, Joe. I just had, before you left, I wanted to get that in. Everybody got these strong ass beards. Got me looking like a punk. Go ahead.
No problem, brother. Well, there's a lot that I can say, but what I will say is that I definitely appreciate all the brothers on the panel for being patient with me. I know at times I can be a bit audacious or even hubris in my deliberation. But I have people like Alvin, people like Dennis that are actually helping me in my transition. But little do you brothers know that I put the capital P in Pookie and the capital R in Ray Ray. I'm actually in my transition. And it's imperative that I surround myself with brothers that can have an impact on my life, because I actually believe that you're only going to get as far as the people you hang around, and your company is your company. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody here. I hope I didn't come off too strong or too disrespectful. If I did, I apologize. I'm still in transition, and I appreciate everything that everybody has contributed to the conversation. And I hope that we can, continue these conversations furthermore in the future. Thank you.
Hey, brother, don't mind that, man. I don't think people take you as just being real, bro. I don't think people take you as you being disrespectful.
Not at all.
We all brothers on this panel.
Not at all. Absolutely. And here's the thing, guys. And one thing that and part of the reason why I'm not even joking when I say part of the reason why I started the channel in the first place is that what oftentimes I hear a lot of times is people talk past each other, or they make a point, but they don't drill it down, or they stay kind of surface level. And it's like, oh, well, you made a really good point, but you gotta finish. We gotta finish. We gotta go that next step. What's that next logical, what's the next logical question? And sometimes it is a simple question like, well, wait a minute, how do we do that thing, right? We talk about how we need to do X, Y, and Z, but how do we really do that? And I'll use this opportunity to close us out, is that, just like we're sitting here and we're talking, folks aren't used to seeing educated Black men sitting having a conversation from all these walks of life. One thing that I will note, I don't know if you necessarily noticed or not, we mentioned women, but we didn't really talk about women, right? We talked about men. We talked about what we can do. We didn't scapegoat women. We didn't scapegoat whatever. We talked about what we can do. And that's something that I really appreciated about this. This wasn't we weren't, I don't even think I even said lovely ladies the whole time, right? Because we're really trying to drill down how we can stay on code, how we can get things done. And so, in my honest opinion, the best way for us to really kick this thing off is to create our own propaganda machine. And we need to we need to be louder than everyone else, right? We need to be loud. We need to make it cool to be an educated Black man. We need to make it so that, because men of deen, not everybody can control the intake of what their children are taking in. And what we're realizing now is that the folks that shall remain unnamed are funding these terrible messages, right? So if I say, wear a dress and I'll give you $1 million, or you can get on your own and you might make $10,000, we see what's happening, right? So people are choosing that $1 million to put on that dress, or I'll give you $1 million to twerk in a parking lot. Now you can have a good message and go out on your own and sell your own albums out of your trunk and give me that conscious rap, but we're not going to support the conscious rap, right? And we're not going to distribute the conscious rap. That's the problem that we're running into. That's the thing that we're often not getting. So go ahead, Douglas, and now I'm gonna close this out. Go ahead.
Just on what you were saying, as far as the music, a lot of people making their own music is the platforms that we don't have.
Absolutely. So right. Distribution.
Yeah, distribution, which is just cold nowadays. And like you got to go press up CDs and all that, this and that. So basically, we got to get into building these user interfaces for our people, bro.
For
And
our
people
people.
need to support these user interfaces, apps, and programs that we create.
Absolutely.
So I'm
And,
in on that.
and I appreciate that. So we need to make it cooler. Like we need, it's a set. We're bad. It's bad marketing right now, right? We're doing bad marketing for ourselves, and we're allowing it to happen. So, in my honest opinion, probably one of the most direct ways that we can affect how we're seen, right, and how our kid, because how we're seen affects our children, right? Like when I was a kid, all I would hear about was, oh, gangsta, 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 gangsta. But I would look around and I'm like, or lazy, lazy, lazy. And I'm like, my dad is the hardest working guy I know. Like I don't know these who are these lazy black men that they're talking about? I don't know those men. These deadbeat fathers. Who are these deadbeat fathers? I don't know any deadbeat fathers, but that's the image that we keep getting. So we have to be active about combating that. Now, here's the problem. Here's the problem. Whenever we stick our head up, what happens? We get a Kyrie, right? They try to slap our head down, right? So, securing our own resources, but going out, and we need to work within the system that we've earned the right to be involved in. And we need to create, and in my honest opinion, create an anti-propaganda machine that rivals the one that's pushing back on us. Now, can we be like sledgehammers and go straight forward, straightforward into it? I don't think so. I think it's got to be a lot more like scalpels, right? I think that's how it's going to have to be, in my honest opinion. I think we're going to have to go in with a lot more strategy. I think we're going to have to be a little bit more strategic. We're going to have to get ourselves together. We're going to huddle up together. The reason why the churches were so valuable in the 40s, 50s, 60s, because that was the only place we were allowed to meet in groups.
So this new church.
Exactly. And I hate to say it that way, but that was the part of the power of the church. The power of the church was the place where grown men could meet, where the pastor had power, political power, at least locally, where he could help, he could help some of the small businesses and help the men, give them
power
jobs.
Over the sheriff.
Power over the sheriff, right? And that's the local army. That's the man with the guns, and that's who we need. We need to be able to not manipulate, but we need to be able to control, or at least we need to have law enforcement that's working on our behalf and not against us, at least. And so, if, in my honest opinion, and again, I'm gonna go ahead and just land the plane, and we're gonna end this. I think we're doing the right things. We're on the right path. I think as we start to figure out this internet thing, we're always late to the game. We're the last to engage, but we are engaging. And I think creating anti-propaganda and being aggressive about pushing back on these negative stereotypes, I think is important to us. I really appreciate Menadine. Do me a huge favor, bro. If you could put your information in the chat, if you'd like to, because I think that, again, I would, if I had, in my ideal world, would love to be able to, control my children in an environment, once I become a millionaire, if I ever become a millionaire, I've changed how I think I would live my life, meaning, I'm moving somewhere and I'm gonna homeschool my kids, but because of the things that we're talking about now. But that's the only way I see being able to monitor what my children are taking but again, I don't have any. They're fictitious children at this point. But I'm gonna go ahead and thank you so much, guys, for coming through, supporting me, not making me look like an idiot. You don't understand. I'm like humbled by the fact that I'm sitting here looking at all you guys. I don't being on Dennis, this was like one of the first opportunities I've had to be able to sit and speak and get something out, and share some ideas and be able to congregate with men in this way. So, it humbles me to be able to offer a place where we can kind of continue the conversation. And I hope that, I can move the needle in some kind of way. If one person heard something that turned a light bulb on to make them, do something that they weren't going to do, then my job is done. And I think that, this is my way of being able to try to help the community, in my own little way. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you all coming through. I'm not exactly sure what Dennis' schedule looks like, but I'll probably have, if you look at my community page, I'll be kind of, I'll try to, give a day or two of letting you know what I'm about to be talking about. If there's anything that you guys would like to talk about, or subjects that you would like to cover, or things that you feel free to hit me up. I'm open. Okay. So once again,
Hey,
all those,
Corey Bucky, nice shirt, brother.
hey, so I make these.
Man, this old thing.
Oh, you guys. I was about to say. I was like,
I lost weight.
I was like, yo,
I like
Hey,
that.
Alvin, where you get your shirt at, bro?
What's that?
You
I
get your
lost a
shirt
lot
at?
of weight.
Where'd I get? So I work with a local printer here in the city, and I make basically. Oh, so wait, hold on. I'm
Yeah, I
gonna
like
get
to
my own.
order a shirt. How would I order a shirt?
I'll send you a link, or I'll put a link on my community tab in a couple of hours. But
Okay.
so look at the back though. Can you read what the back says? It says, "Feeling triggered, seek therapy." Because what happened was, so the other ones I wear that say "man" on it.
Yeah.
So what was happening was I was having some conversations with some of my female clients and friends, and I mean, I guess people would consider me a square dude, but I'm not a pussy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, like, I don't tolerate, so whenever I like kind of buck up or defend myself or defend a position, these girls will get so triggered. And I'm like, why are you so upset? Like, I don't understand. And I'm realizing that whenever I was in a position where I was establishing some sort of dominance, or at least, just being a man, it was pissing these females off. And I was like, wow, just me standing up for myself, or at least like not bending the knee to whatever the hell you just said, or questioning the dumb statistics or the dumb bitch babble that you just threw at me. You expect me to just like, you get like, it was like they would short circuit, like
You know what they be doing though, right, man? When they be overly masculine, it's like they're using witchcraft when they be overly masculine to suck the masculinity away from you.
Yeah, and for real men, it doesn't work.
Yeah,
it's like water crashing on a rock. You like, what are you? Get your ass up.
We're gonna give it all up, just trying, get between her legs.
Yes.
So that's what they be doing.
So
somebody like me, I had so many women. Women look at me, could tell this dude been with a whole bunch of women.
They leave you alone. They leave you alone. So what I did was I got this first. I have just one that says "man" on it, and then I got 5 other ones that are basically masculine traits. So discipline, structure, things like values, things like that I have on this one, and then on the back it says "feeling triggered, seek therapy." So the funny thing is, I'll go out in public. I was at a concert, and this girl had just seen the back. It's "feeling triggered, seek therapy." So this girl walks up to me. She's like, "Oh my God, I love your t-shirt. Where can I get one?" And I turn around and she looks at man. I see her eyes look at my chest, and it was like she didn't know how to feel. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was like instantly, like seeing just those 3 letters, MAN, pissed her off so much that she like literally forgot what she came over to talk to me about in the first place. So these shirts are more of a troll than anything, to be honest. But it just lets people know right away like what I'm about. Like, if you can wear a rainbow, fine, wear a rainbow. Well, I got discipline on my chest. Or just in case you had a question as to what kind of guy I am, then let me just help you with this 3-letter word. So that was why I did why I make these. I'll put the link to those in the community chat. Douglas, do me a favor.
I'll get with you on the back
on
end.
The private,
a lot of black holes that you probably can get your product in.
Yeah. I'm looking for any manufacturers or anything. I'm trying to manufacture my own stuff because I don't like these per se. I could do better. But I'm willing to do that. So once again, guys, I really appreciate you guys coming through. Thank you so much. Stay tuned. I'll have I've got some other broadcasts planned. I'll try to kind of coincide them with what Dennis is going on, but obviously, I got my own path too. So thanks again. You guys are all great. Really appreciate you for all of you guys that are out here, watching. Thank you, Urban Eagle. Shout out to you. Lawrence Ross, shout out to you. You've been contributing a lot to the chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all of you guys, and I'm gonna go ahead and do like Dennis. I ended it like this. Erica Badu said it best. I'm an artist. I'm sensitive about my shit, and I'll holler at you guys on the next one. Peace.
Yeah, all right.